Are seeing that storm system push right out of the Gulf, right through Mexico, and providing more moisture. And by tomorrow night, we're going to see some heavy downpour in the central part of Texas. Now, that cool down I was talking about, here's why. We've got a little bit of a storm system that's moving in across the New Mexico-Arizona state line, and that's going to show us probably a little bit of isolated thunderstorms and definitely some showers. We are in the 100s. We're going to cool down just slightly into those mid to lower 90s around 9, 10 o'clock tonight. We are hot and getting hotter. We are cooking with Crisco here in Phoenix at 110, 108 down in Tucson. And if you have any lawn care to do with gas-powered equipment, hold that off until way late into the evening. The extreme heat that we've been experiencing, it's not over yet. Taking a look at your currents right now, we are still in those mid triple digits, and by the time we get to 10 o'clock here tonight, we're not really cooling down a whole lot. It's going to take a few more hours for us to see some cooler temps overnight. 89 here in Phoenix, 80 down in Tucson, 54 up in Flagstaff, still going to be 90 over in Lake Havasu City. Tomorrow, though, we are still going to see some more hot temps before some cooling down. We'll talk about that cool down in just a moment. 113 here in Phoenix, 105 in Tucson, going to be 115 in Yuma. Flagstaff going to be nice, though, at 83 degrees. Now, that cool down I was talking about, here's why. We've got a little bit of a storm system that's moving in across the New Mexico-Arizona state line, and that's going to show us probably a little bit of isolated thunderstorms and definitely some showers on the eastern part of the state down in Tucson. And as we move into Wednesday, we are definitely going to see some of that moisture move its way into the valley here as well. Taking a look at your forecast over the next 8 days, we are going to be starting to look pretty nice. 113, 106, dipping down to 101 on Thursday. And 4th of July is going to be beautiful and sunny here, 104 in the valley. And we are going to see those temperatures start to creep back up just a little bit as we move through the weekend. And taking a look at those current conditions that we have right now over Texas, we are seeing that storm system push right out of the Gulf, right through Mexico, and providing more moisture. And by tomorrow night, we're going to see some heavy downpour in the central part of Texas. And as that storm system continues to swirl around, we're going to see widespread thunderstorms and showers across the southeastern part of the state, especially as it continues to move down towards Houston. Now, that same storm system is actually bringing up some moisture for us here in State 48, but it's just barely along the border and along the eastern part of the state with New Mexico, and we're going to see most of it by tomorrow night up in Flagstaff. Going to bring some moisture in, but it's probably not going to bring a lot of rain, or at least any measurable amount of rain for us. Taking a look at your currents, though, right now, we are still in those triple digits. We are, 101 by 10 o'clock tonight, not cooling down a whole heck of a lot, but as we see with tomorrow, the overnight temperatures, 91 here in Phoenix, 87 in Quartzsite, 83 down in Tucson. The high temperatures, though, for tomorrow, we are in that extreme heat warning that's going to last through Thursday. 113 here in Phoenix, 107 in Tucson, 114 in Lake Havasu City. And we could see higher temperatures surpassing 115 as we move through the week. Taking a look at your 8-day forecast, Tuesday is going to be 113 in Phoenix, 117 is going to be the hottest day of the week for across the desert as this weather continues to heat up for us. Thursday, 113, and as we move through into the weekend, we're going to see those temperatures dip down just slightly, a few degrees below normal, but still going to hover around 110, 109. The holiday weekend is here, and a lot of people will be hitting the road, and that's why state officials want you to be prepared.
You need to be a careful driver out there. You need to stay alert, and you need to plan your trip out.
ADOT spokesman Doug Nitzel says part of that road trip planning is ensuring you've got water and an emergency kit with you, and check your car before you leave.
Check that tire pressure, check the oil level, things that you can do to try to keep yourself from being that vehicle that's off to the side of the road disabled.
AAA is predicting 61.6 million people will hit the road over the holiday weekend. That's a million more than last year. The most common roadside assistance calls for AAA for the 4th of July are dead batteries and flat tires. And as with any holiday, there's always a concern for drunk drivers. Sergeant Eric Andrews with the Department of Public Safety says he hopes people will make the responsible decision not to get behind the wheel if they've been drinking.
We will do as much as we can to educate people and to enforce DUI law and to be out there making sure that we're getting DUI drivers off the road. That is one of our main goals as an agency. But ultimately, until people stop making that decision that they consciously make, this will not stop.
Now, in addition to the days leading up to the holiday, one of the busiest travel days is expected to be Sunday, so plan accordingly, and if you can, leave a little bit earlier. In Phoenix, Eddie McCoven, Cronkite News.
Well, there's nothing like a monsoon here in the summertime.
And Brian Blake would know. The longtime Arizona resident and his family have been involved in growing and selling trees, shrubs, and other vegetation at Whitfield Nursery for more than 7 decades.
What it really does for us is it breaks the heat. It'll not drop the nighttime temperatures, but raises the humidity. So for plants like this citrus tree here, they love it.
And we could feel some of that moisture in the air pretty soon. Arizona State climatologist Aaron Saffel is predicting a stormy, wet summer, which can help cool things down.
If we have more thunderstorm activity, that helps cool us off. So hopefully we'll have more of that activity and we won't get those extreme temperatures, but it can still happen. We want to make sure everyone is safe from the heat.
Saffel says conditions are lining up for a wet summer because of storm systems brewing over the Four Corners region.
We get that high pressure in that location and it starts spinning around and hopefully bringing moisture into Arizona. That's what we look for.
Blake says business at the nursery will likely pick up if we get some cooler weather, but he says now is the time to get your trees and shrubs ready for the storms.
With our rains often come winds 60 and sometimes even 70 miles an hour, so a lot of trees can break. So if you're going to do a little thinning on mesquite trees and especially Desert Museum Palo Verdes in anticipation of a monsoon, it's not a bad plan for this year in June.
And while we need the rain and we all could use some cooler temperatures here in Arizona, we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. Reporting in Tempe, Eddie McCoven, Cronkite News.
APS is fire conscious throughout the entire year.
APS employs different types of technology and personnel to monitor situations on the grid and in the environment. From low-tech, like keeping power lines and poles free from brush and trees, to high-tech that shuts down power lines if a fire is detected.
PSPS is our public safety power shutoff. It's the last resort tool we have in our toolbox to provide that additional layer of safety.
Residents in Navajo and Coconino counties have been under the power shutoff program, but new this year, a portion of Pinal County has been added. APS, along with SRP and Unisource, will shut down the power to lines like the ones behind me here to prevent them from snapping and sparking a fire in windy conditions or if a fire is already burning in the area. Utility customers will get a 4-day advance warning of possible public safety shutoffs, which Pinal County Emergency Manager Corey Redden says will help with the local response.
Getting that heads up from them is going to allow us to get our resources in ready state and then get our resources activated, such as sheltering and cooling centers.
APS says any power shutoffs are limited to specific areas and not to the entire grid and would last less than 24 hours.
We are only selecting those areas that we know if there is a fire, there's a high risk or high and quick risk of fire spread.
In Phoenix, Eddie McCoven, Cronkite News.